Greetings, this is the Evening Run. A pleasure always. Your host, Denobi 2.
Good evening, folks. Thank you so much for joining me on this unscheduled evening run. Sorry, I'm running a little bit late. I had to catch up on some prepping and so forth. And I wanted to share my thoughts because the biggest news today within the world of pop cultural news, specifically Star Wars, is the announcement and closure of the Galactic Starcruiser. Whether or not you're a fan of the experience or not, that's not what I'm more concerned about. I'm more concerned about the impact moving forward as with the IP with Star Wars. And to help me bounce ideas, my good friend here, Mario, El Professor, is going to be joining me so we can bounce some ideas here and checking on the chat here because I know this was an unscheduled. And Mario, thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, thanks for having me, man.
Look at this. Here we go. Kramer joining. The Starcruiser was always flawed in how it was executed. Were you ever thinking of trying to do it? I mean, it was like $600. That's a lot of Hot Toys vehicles and statues. We're going to talk about that because...
Yeah. I think Lane's missing a zero. Not 600. That's more like 6,000, my guy. So
$6,000. For those of you who are living on the rock, it's pretty big news within the world of pop culture news. The Star Wars Disney Galactic Starcruiser announced that it's shut its doors. Last maiden cruise will be at the end of September. By October 1st, it needs to be closed because I learned that's when the fiscal year of Disney starts, October 1st. So it's either you get on it or not. Before I get into a few monologue spiels, Mario, you wanted to do this, didn't you?
I did, man. I mean, the concept of this thing was fascinating, bro. It's just that when it actually launched, so Disney gathered a bunch of influencers, a lot of YouTubers, Disney influencers, right? And from what I gathered, a lot of the reviews were less than stellar. It looked very underwhelming. But from what I understand, it's actually changed a little bit more, over the course of a year, from when it first opened until now.
Okay.
Which is funny because there was another video that I wanted to check out that actually dropped, I think, like yesterday, from a channel that I watch, Ordinary Adventures.
Is it? Well, there's another channel called WDW. I don't know.
WDW,
yeah. That guy, he has a chip off. He kind of gets annoyed at Disney, but he did the Galactic Starcruiser twice. So
yeah,
I'm with you. This is such one of those mixed bags where people love it and they don't, but yet I know I've seen influencers on YouTube that have done multiple trips on it.
But I'm sure they were sponsored. From what I understand, there were Disney flying them out, say, hey, come check it out again. The first time wasn't that great, but hey, we made some changes. Come check it out again. See what you guys think.
So you suspect it was?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Corporate espionage sponsorship. Look, let's get you in. Let's give you a discount here. And
absolutely, man. Because I mean, even if some of these influencers could afford it, I mean, it wasn't worth their asking price. The price of admission was not definitely there. As far as the value was concerned.
No.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that. But was it worth the amount of clickbait hate that this, for me, it was like, it's a lot of money. I did the math. I was very interested in it, and it doesn't add up. But it seemed like it was one of the pundits' favorite punching bags. Where everybody now is claiming credit on its failure. Look, I posted a video a year ago on the Galactic Cruiser failure, and I've been noticing a lot of that. I've always tried to stay in the middle. I've always been a fair advocate, and I've always felt that the pundits that always attacked it never either A, experienced it, or B, not to shame anybody, but they couldn't afford it. That was always my impression on it.
I think you'd be fair with that assessment.
Right? If they couldn't swing it, then it's not for true Disney fans. And for me, I can tell you, I could afford it, but
Mm-hmm.
but the math does not add up because I've shared this with friends and family. For $6,000, I could take my family of 4, fly them out to Japan, Tokyo, Japan, for 4 nights, 5 days. 6 grand would include the airfare, the hotel stay, and admission to both Disney parks in Tokyo. Now, it wouldn't include
Huh.
spec cash or food, but I've done the math. It's right below. And I'm like,
Wow.
and look, in 2025, my whole family, we're going to Japan. We're going to Star Wars Celebration, taking the whole family out to Tokyo. So I for me, I never stomped my feet against the whole Galactic Cruiser. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
it's expensive. It looks kind of mediocre,
Right.
um, right?
Yeah.
And it's hard to justify that because if fans really wanted to go, they could. If they, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you're willing to sell anything, but they never made it a strong pull, I guess, and so to say.
They really didn't make it accessible to. I mean, we just discussed this on my stream earlier
Yeah.
tonight, in which my guy Vinny mentioned that it probably would have been smart for Disney to actually consider taking a loss on the admission and just upsell everything else that us Disney fans will buy when it comes to the merch. All the exclusive merch
Thank
that is
you.
available
Thank
here.
you. Thank you. Thank you.
That's where they
So
could have capitalized.
I never understood that. So why weren't they more aggressive? Because my channel is more of pop cultural toys and collectibles.
Hmm.
Why didn't they have Hot Toys exclusives?
They easily could have. Yeah, it's a
Why
complete
didn't
missed
they do that?
opportunity. They're just
Golden
thinking.
opportunity. Meaning
Yeah.
under lock and key, if you want the specific, I don't know, platinum gold or stormtrooper,
Mm,
right? It could only be purchased inside the gift shop in the
right.
Halcyon. Was that the name of the ship?
The Halcyon, I think it was.
The
Yeah.
Halcyon was the name of the ship, right? I never understood that. I never, and then you and I, what's, for the folks watching, for watching, at Star Wars Celebration, we got to visit their booth at Star Wars
Hmm.
Celebration, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they had a sample of the merchandise. And didn't you and I talk about this? The merchandise it felt very lackluster,
It
right?
did. It felt like
Yeah,
something you just pick up at the park. Nothing exclusive about it.
nothing at all. It was really nothing. And I always felt like, they could have lowered the price of admission
Hmm.
and they could have made it up. And because I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm a sucker for exclusives.
You see, so am I.
You're
So am
telling
I,
me,
man.
you're telling me I could only buy a specific lightsaber. This lightsaber is under lock and key, sold
Hmm.
one per person, and you
Yep.
could only get it inside the Halcyon. So, and the whole trick is to make it one per person. So if you get those annual pass holders who are trying to smuggle out like a case to hawk off in the secondary market, you add that restriction, you
Put a
add
stop to
that
that.
exclusivity. I never understood that. I never understood why, because I think merchandise, I think for folks watching, for me specifically, it's you when you make something more exclusive, you're enticing them. But look, let me pull this up here. Yeah, I needed a refresher right here. Where is it? Let's put you over
Yeah,
here.
and that's the thing too, man. I mean,
Yeah,
you know how Disney fans are, with exclusive merch,
yeah.
especially when it comes to pins, when it comes to coffee mugs, when it comes to like clothes, spirit jerseys, what have you. It's ears especially. Ears is like insanely huge.
Mhm.
The mini ears. So whenever something like that comes out, it draws a huge crowd, and then the resellers they're all over the place. So the demand is there, for this type of like exclusive merch. And again, Disney could have completely capitalized off of that. But that's what they'll end up doing in the future still remains to be seen, because I personally don't believe, and I'm sure we'll talk about this later, that this isn't like completely a permanent shutdown. If anything, I think this could be like an opportunity to reskin it, right? Because in the parks right now, we've seen them evolve a little bit. They're coming
Mhm.
out. I mean, they're adding, not adding, but they're reserving certain sections within Galaxy's Edge where they can introduce some of the characters that, not everybody loved, in whether it be in the Book of Boba Fett with Fennec Shan, the Mandalorian and Grogu walking around too. That Grogu animatronic is insane, bro. I don't know if you've seen it, but it legit moves around, winks his eyes, and everybody's all
The one in the
over it.
park, right? The
The one
one
in the
that's
park.
hanging out with Mando. Yeah, I've
Yeah,
seen the
yeah,
videos. And it
the
looks,
one in the park.
yeah.
So if they're willing to, like, take a second opportunity to think about how they can introduce characters within a restricted timeline of the sequel trilogy, they can easily do the same with the Halcyon, right? They can easily retheme it to, okay, so we could be on a mission with Din Djarin or whoever, and they can expand the story around either a modern story in which they're telling on Disney Plus, or even think about if they even went back to the original trilogy. That's always a possibility as well.
I love history, and if there's one thing that you've always heard me say, Mario, is that I don't like to be punished by history, right?
Yeah.
And this is one of those sensitive, divisive decisions made by the company, and clearly it was not financially viable. But make no mistake, right? This is going to be one of those situations where once the doors shut, could a sense of regret set in? I know me personally, regret will be set in. My schedule is tight this year. I'm saving up to go to San Diego Comic-Con. I have access. I have relatives that live in Florida. If I try to pull it off, I probably won't be able to bring my family. If anything, I'm going to try to maybe split the cost, maybe do solo. I want to try, and I don't know if I'm going to succeed, but I want to try to do the experience because I'm one of those individuals that I like to speak from experience, because I don't take anybody. It's hard for me to take someone with credibility when they're talking smack and shit about it, and you find out that either A, they've never been to Disney, B, they never visited Florida or even California, and C, they're probably not even a Star Wars fan, or just, be prideful. I'm like, look, I can't afford it. I really wanted to do it, but I can't afford it. And even in the Hot Toys world community, I've always said that. I've always said, as hot toy collectors, be careful not to boast. If you can't afford the Guardians of the Galaxy line, share the pain. There are others out there that are in the exact same boat, and they can relate. Collectors are not going to relate with you when you. It's hard to relate with individuals that may come off a little bit elitist, and even I have struggled with hot toys and toys and so forth. And I can tell you right now, for my family and for my budget, going to the Galactic Cruiser, it does not financially make sense, because I can't just think about myself. I have to think about the family. And I know I put up the sticker price up there for $6,000, I can get a better experience, and I can still get my Disney kick. I've been to Japan 3 times. I know what I can get out there.
Yeah.
Oh, and you know what's not in Japan, in Tokyo? Disney apps and Disney genies and Disney reservations.
You mean to tell me that I can go to Disney anytime I want when I'm out there?
Anytime
with no
you
reservations
want in Japan. And same thing in Paris. In fact, this whole reservation and genie app, that's just in the US. Remember, I went to Paris. I went to Euro Disney last year. None of that app shit exists.
Well, I thought, from what I understand, I thought the Genie app was experimented over there in Paris and then brought over here to the States eventually, along with the reservation system. No, not the reservation system, but I believe it was
did
Genie.
Disneyland Paris. If there was an app, we didn't need it. We walked into all the lines. If there was no reservation needed. Everything worked out beautifully. So I'm speaking from, see, it's different. It's not like, well, I heard that they're gouging people. No, I took the whole family out to Paris last year to Disney, Euro Disney. We had a fantastic time. I didn't use any apps. There was no reservations, none of that. I've been to Japan 3 times. Same thing over in Tokyo Disney and Tokyo Disney by the Sea. You walk in. In fact, Even the Disney park admission tickets out there, Mario, it's like $80 per person.
It's Tokyo. Really 80? Wow.
Yes.
Dude, I can't wait. I'm there. I am absolutely
the
going.
Disney tickets, the Disney admission that's why it doesn't make financially sense for me at $6,000. Well, $6,000 for 2 nights, or I can take the whole family, say, to Japan for 6. It doesn't make any sense at all.
At some point, you have to question whether or not how, you know, how much are they trying to capitalize, off of this. I don't want to say that they're overheads or anything, but I did hear some shit about them possibly forcefully to acquire Hulu if I think if Paramount decides to pull out pretty soon.
Well, it's a contractual obligation.
Exactly.
It's a contractual obligation, and so they do, and the contractual obligation has to be met by, I want to say, by the end of January 31st, 2024 is the date I remember is what was being shared by John.
Yeah.
So that's next year's drama. This year's drama is the current layoffs that are happening at the Walt Disney World, the shutdown of the Galactic Starcruiser. Let me look. I'm going to share. Thank you, Local Lou. What's up, people? I have a good friend who lives in Florida, and he's a big Star Trek fan. And I live in Las Vegas, and one of the reasons I visited Las Vegas for the very first time was the Star Trek experience here in Las Vegas at the Hilton. Fantastic. It was one of a kind. And the Star Trek experience closed its doors in 2008 because the last couple of years, attendance dropped. Star Trek was starting to get poo-pooed on because of Star Trek Nemesis. And John, he was living in Orlando. I was like, Denobi, I need to come visit you in Vegas, and I need to do the Star Trek experience. I'm going to get to it. Because I really want to check it out and so forth. And the doors closed. He wasn't able to get it. And it's one of his regrets, even though at the time Star Trek was sour. It was just, it aged like poor milk. This is in 2008.
Yeah.
So
with the Star Trek experience, I mean, was there a lot of like
there was 2 attractions. There was a museum, there was the Deep Space Nine promenade, there was a gift shop. Dude, it was a fantastic experience. I remember it was a lot of fun. And I remember the last year when I attended it in 2008, I mean, it was just like an empty, it was just no one gave a shit. And then it's funny because now this younger generation of the millennials who've watched Star Trek Voyager, Star Trek Deep Space Nine on Netflix, now they love it. Now they think it's great. Now, where I'm going with the story is that, look, I understand that the sequel trilogy, the whole Rey and Kylo, it wasn't our cup of tea. Our generation.
Right. Whoa.
Oh shit! What's that?
Hey, I'm not here.
What the hell is that? Sorry. Shut up. I don't know why I did that. That's stupid. So where was I, Mark? So yeah, the Kylo Ren, that whole sequel trilogy was in our story, but I do understand and know that when you were 9 or 10 years old, when you watch those movies and you become an adult and you have spending cash,
that's your nostalgia.
You're probably going to get a kick out of it. And it's going to be one of those situations like, it's a shame. I was alive when the Galactic Starcruiser was open, and now it's kind of like the World's Fair. Like, it was only available for a couple years, and now you're going to read about it in history books. Regardless if you're a big fan of it or not, it's going to enter the history books.
But the World's Fair, that's a different animal, bro. You're talking about people introducing, their different technologies when it comes to attractions.
And the Galactic Cruiser didn't bring in a
I mean,
I'm using it as a unique short-term experience, because the World's Fair was typically between 1 to 2 years, and then it was gone, and then you read about it in history books. That's what I'm kind of.
No, I totally get that. Yeah, I totally get that.
That was the metaphor I was getting.
But is it really? You think it's really worth the time and effort just to try to do something out of FOMO? I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but like for me, I think I'd be fine without it. I mean, granted, like I was interested from the jump, but seeing the experience,
Okay,
it's more laid out for kids than it is for adults, bro. It
it
really
is,
is.
it is. But I love to be part of failed history, and I thought this was what I thought was going to happen in my head as my gears were
Uh-huh.
rolling. I thought this is exactly what was going to happen.
We can charge anything we want, 2,000 a day, 10,000 a day, and people will pay it. And then there's the merchandise. And I can personally...
Donald, this park was not built to cater only for the super rich. Everyone in the world has the right to enjoy these animals.
Sure, they will. I mean, what, we'll have a coupon day or...
That's exactly what I
Where
thought
the
was
hell
gonna
was the
happen.
coupon day?
That's exactly what I thought was going to happen. I'm like, that's fine.
Uh-huh.
Let
Uh-huh.
all these cats that are hating on it. I'm going to wait for a coupon. I'll sneak on. That way I can experience it. And that way I can have it in my punch card, my Disney punch card, and I'll,
Maybe they'll capitalize on that. I mean, considering that if attendance is that low, right? They already announced a shutdown date. If they don't see people swarming just to come to try to make that last voyage or what have you, maybe they will introduce coupon days. Make it more enticing, make it more inviting for those that
I
can't
didn't
really afford to
understand
come
that.
aboard.
Apparently they were doing the experiences so when I looked at the calendar, there were nights that were super booked, and then there were nights in the middle of the week that the rooms were half empty. So they
Mm,
needed to do I think I don't know if it's poor management, poor marketing. Look, I get it. All the sold out nights were Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Yeah,
that's
that's something
typical
fun as
everywhere.
shit to do,
Yeah,
right?
right.
It works like that at Disneyland, California. You know
Of
that. No
course.
one,
Yep.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Weekend
So
warriors, man. Yep.
mhm. But the problem is that they never adjusted their rates like a traditional hotel, meaning off-peak season, regular peak. They never did that. They felt, hey, we're Disney, and we're not gonna accommodate, off-peak. Like, no, they assumed because they purchased Star Wars that they would have an opportunity to essentially charge whatever they want, right? Just like the greedy lawyer in Jurassic Park. To me,
Yeah.
that's what went through my head. To me, that's that. Okay, sure, we'll have a double coupon day. I always assumed
Mm-hmm.
that's what was going to happen. But you know what? I'm part of every Disney subscription newsletter alerts. I never saw it.
Same. Same. Never saw it either, man.
I
I mean,
never
that's not
saw
to
it.
say that I probably would have taken the opportunity to do so because it's
Yeah,
not something that I've really been interested in. But
yeah.
but now, like you mentioned, that it is going away. It is more enticing, but for me, I'm still good without it. To be honest, you let me know how it goes, bro. I'll live vicariously through you.
I just look. I honestly thought, but an opportunity would present itself. But no, look, I was going to 4K blast. But again, Mario, to what we said earlier in video, there were influencers who would visit it multiple times. I know that one
Mm-hmm.
channel, WDW, visited twice. People really enjoyed it. They had a lot of fun, and
Yeah.
it's hard to who are you going to believe? Are you going to believe the clickbait channels like Drunk C3PO that it was trash and Doomcock and versus the other channels that this is our second time going. I'm like, well, what is it? And
Yeah.
unfortunately, unless you get to go, it's gonna be like the JFK situation. Unless you were there looking
Mm.
over the grassy knoll, unfortunately, you're never gonna know. You're either gonna be surrounded by positive Disney supporters or negative Disney haters who are out.
There's
I
really no middle ground for you to really
exactly,
truly believe. Yeah.
exactly. And again, what a sad missed opportunity here because um
Yeah. I'm wondering if Star Crash is right because I know that there are some times in that you are not allowed to record video anywhere, and I'm wondering if
people
they
people film
actually
the
kind of
whole
relaxed that.
experience.
They
Yeah.
well they did with permission because they were
Uh
given permission to do so
so
because it was basically a commercial for Disney at the time to
yeah.
promote it.
So I'm going to tell you something right now. I'm jealous at the influencers that got complete full 4K walkthrough tours because those videos are essentially timeless archives. I
Hmm.
have videos in my channels in my channel right now that continuously get views, regardless of what era time it is. Like
Yeah.
my whole NASA videos, anything with NASA that I do continuously gets views. Anything I do with Back to the Future, there's certain things I do for my channel, certain things I review. It doesn't matter if it's like an old property, it always continually generates views. And now with the doors closing on the Hesion, anybody that was able to capture really true 4K experience, that's now going to go into the Jedi archives 10 years down the road,
The Disney
right?
Vault, yeah.
It's going to go into the vault, and you're only going to be, and I'm assuming 10 years in the future, I mean, I'll fun speculate. There's going to be programmers who are probably 15 years old now, will be 25 or 30, you know, who'll know a STEM and codecs, and who will now create virtual walkthroughs and headsets and all of that stuff based off of the footage. So the footage that you gather now, that's kind of like an archival newsreel, essentially. And I'm going to say, I'll be honest, I'm a little bit jealous of that, because that's one of the things that's crossed my mind. Like, you know, Zenobi, if you can just maybe go by yourself to save some money, kind of ditch the family and gather as much, because you know me, 4K blasted and grab tons of B-roll footage. Well, my footage is always going to be referenced throughout the years.
But is it worth the family being upset with you for the rest of your life?
Well, you know what they don't know. I did mention I have relatives that live in Florida, didn't I?
You did, man.
Oh, there's 66. Yeah. What do you think is going to happen now? What do you this is okay. So this is the part that I think I find so weird, because everybody thinks, I don't know, it's going to get another new Star Wars thing. It's going to get destroyed. It's going to get this. What do you think? What do you, in your hide? We'll put on the tinfoil hats right now.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen?
I think for the near future that it will shut down, right? And then we'll all be led to believe that it's actually closed. The building will still remain, while in the meantime, I definitely think they're going to reskin it. There's no way that Disney's going to take this kind of loss, man. I mean, to scrap this entire project with all of the R&D and all the capital investment that's been put into there, there's no way they're going to take a hit on that. So they'd be wise to actually reconsider theming it. Like I mentioned earlier, how they're kind of slowly doing that, you know, within Galaxy's Edge in general, by introducing characters that are outside of the sequel trilogy timeline, right? So, and if they wanted to, they can easily retheme Galaxy's Edge as well to original trilogy, or something else as well. The Falcon is already there. You just take out the TIE Echelon, you put in Darth Vader's TIE Advance, you're good to go. You know, and they can easily reskin, you know, that area to make it more original trilogy, and they would make a killing, I'm sure, off of that. By bringing in original trilogy characters as well.
Where's Google Maps? What's in there? Okay, so this is the one in, is this Florida or is this California? This is Florida.
That's Florida.
This is Florida right here. This is the Google Map. So you have a retention pond to the left, Galactic Cruiser right here, and then you would take the little route shuttle bus over to Galaxy's Edge, and see this is the other thing too, Mario. I did Galaxy's Edge in Florida, and I'm assuming it's a completely different experience than the one in California, because this thing is huge. It's always,
from what I understand, it's the same actually.
It doesn't have a bigger footprint.
No. Have you been to the one in California?
No, I've only done the one in Florida.
It's a good size footprint in California here too. It doesn't seem, you're completely immersed in the world. You feel like that you're not even in the park anymore. You know, so from what I've seen, footage based in Florida, it's damn near identical. You know, there's subtle differences here and there, but I mean, it's for it honestly is just for the paint, the way they treat their paint to compensate for the weather that's out there versus over here. You know, but everything else is aesthetically the same.
But you know, I've been to Disneyland dozens of times. Disneyland's a cramped little outdated. It is. That's no doubt. But that's our charming little park, man. We are the original. I love it.
Magic Kingdom, man. Walt's original vision, dude. I live
in Vegas.
History.
You know,
we have the history.
Yeah, I just look. Here's the thing. I love Disneyland. The last 3 or 4 years, I have not enjoyed going to Disneyland. It has not been fun,
Mm,
and a lot of that happened
mm,
right after 2020. I'm like, I'm not doing it because of the
mm.
reservation, Genie app, this, that, no
Yeah,
annual
yeah,
members.
yeah.
And
The reservation system has soured a lot of us, bro.
it's just it ain't worth it, right? It's just
Mm-hmm.
it's not worth it.
It is for
Uh,
me still,
um,
man. Being a
yeah.
local, so but
Well, let's
yeah.
put it this way. Look, a theme park ticket in Florida, it's like a buck
Mm-hmm.
40. In California, it's like almost $200. So it's a big
Uh,
price difference.
it is if you're doing both parks, it's about that price, and then plus you have your tiered pricing, man. So depending on which day you go during the week,
See,
that's
that
another thing to
doesn't I don't
consider.
think they do the tier pricing in Florida, though. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think they
Yeah,
do. They have, but again, they don't have to because they have 4 theme parks out there.
yeah,
So
yeah.
they have Animal Kingdom, they have Disney Studios, Epcot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the Magic Kingdom, which is
Basically
the
Disneyland.
sister, the brother
Mm-hmm.
to Disneyland. So let me remove this here. So you think they're going to reskin it?
Yeah.
And I agree with you on that. I think they're gonna I think they're gonna reskin it. I really do. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm gonna put on my speculative hat here. I think Star Wars is dead or dying.
God,
All
I
right.
hate to agree with you, man, because that's one of the things that I've always said too is that I really think Star Wars needs to take a break. It
Star
needs to be out of
Wars
the public eye
is
for a
it's
few years,
de-
and they
dependent
need to make us miss it.
depending on who you ask, it's either dead, dying, it's on life support. We're going on year 5. By the end of 2023, we're going on year 5. We have not had a cinematic film in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
Cinematic movies is king. And they've announced all of these friggin' films in the future. We don't, you know us, we're skeptical. We don't believe anything unless we see production still. So plus we're in
Yeah,
the middle of a writer strike.
yep, yep. That's another thing too, man. Even with the production skills or production stills, we still can't believe it until we actually have a finished product because even during production, we've seen something fall through before. Whether it be a change of directors or something.
Yeah.
We saw that with Solo. Where Ron Howard suddenly had to come in. Because of the other two directors that I guess that weren't taking the script seriously. For the love of God, I can't remember their names off the top of my head right
Yeah.
now. But yeah.
So I look, to me, Star Wars is in the same river Styx as Star Trek. Both IPs, I think, are dismal. But again, if you ask the wrong person,
Mm-hmm.
well, they're doing great on Disney Plus or they're doing fantastic on Paramount Plus. To me, who gives a shit about that? Movies is king. Cinematic is heir to the empire. A cinematic experience. Guardians
Mm-hmm.
of the Galaxy, right? It's fast approaching a bit. It's breaking some wacky records, right? Guardians of the
Mm-hmm.
Galaxy, Marvel, and this is one of the things I've always and I always tend to hear this. Sorry.
No worries.
That I always tend to hear this. That was Anthony. He was wanted to know what I
He
was
wants to
doing. I'm like,
join.
I'm live it. Yeah, I'm live. You didn't get my ding. You didn't get my ding. So I always get, me, Mark. I always get perturbed, kind of peeved when when I hear someone Marvel is dead. Marvel is, and I'm like, Marvel has 3 cinematic movies for the year of 2023. What has Star Wars or Star Trek done for us lately, right? Now,
Mm.
I'm putting on my engineering hat, my systematics. Disney's hurting; they're going to be laying off. This photo right here, you see this right here?
Yeah.
Um, so if we can't do Star Wars, what do you think we could do with this building? I
This
have
is
an
the
idea. Huh?
this is the ship. This is the ship.
This is the Helicarrier. This is outside of the Galactic Cruiser.
Mm.
So you're on the Disney board where you and me, Mario, have entered the holodeck, the Star Trek holodeck, and I programmed it to replace the Helicarrier Galactic Cruiser. And
Uh-huh.
the board isn't happy with Star Wars. Dismal profits, little poor baby Grogu can't hold up. So you're looking at this photo. And you're right. It probably needs to get. Look, they spent $1 billion on this. So I
Yeah.
already saw videos. Oh, they're going to tear it down. Disney's going to grab the
No.
sledgehammer and tear it down. Well, these guys are. That's clickbait hate videos. Oh, they're going to tear it down. Sledgehammer, bulldozer. No. The more sensible, educated folks. I'm like, it's going to be a reskin. What I propose, and I want my credit where my credit is due, because I haven't heard anybody talk about this. You're looking at an overhead view of the Helicarrier, the Galactic Starcruiser. To me, I think Star Wars is dead or dying. Fuck Star Wars right now. We're on the Disney board. We're on the Disney board. We need to make money, right? You see something like this here. What do you think is going to make money, right? So.
This is difficult because, I mean, Avengers Campus out here isn't really doing that well either. So
who said anything about Avengers Campus? What is that flying in the horizon there?
Well, you want to like put some drones of the helicarriers out there?
No drones. We can make it into a helicarrier. You saw what the building looked like. Turn it into a helicarrier.
Sure, yeah.
Enclosed.
Yeah.
The helicarrier is a floating submarine in the sky.
But then look at if me being on the board.
Yes.
What I'm seeing here is that I'm spending more money removing all of the existing interior just to redo it for this.
What are you talking about removing anything? We're just going to give it a nice paint coat. You're inside an helicarrier. And the bridge where Nick Fury, you saw the bridge already from the photo shots, a big open screen. You don't need space. All you need is clouds and sky. The helicarrier is
the hotel rooms that are already themed, per Star Wars. I mean, do you just close all that off?
Have you seen how generic those rooms are, Mario?
They are. No,
they're
they
just
are.
bunks.
They're
bunks
generic,
with a view screen, a coat of paint, and a new video, a new film. I've seen the video? There's no Rebel insignia branding on the beds. You know that it is a bunk bed / compartment painted with orange highlights, white with a view screen. Right? You gotta think big here. I'm telling you, and I want my credit. I'll bet you they'll reskin it into what makes money. What do you think is going to make money? Kylo Ren and Rey, or Tony Stark and Captain America and Bruce Banner walking down the corridors of a helicarrier?
Look at Andre's comment, man.
What did he say? Marvel is because I quote likes to be part of it. Yeah. See, well, there you go. Another Marvel hater, but yet Guardians of the Galaxy is breaking records. You see, sometimes the blind tends to blind you. I just told you, Guardians is breaking. Even the crappy Quantumania was still somewhat profitable, isn't it? Hit still made money.
Yeah. But the thing is that you need to reintroduce somehow reintroduce these characters back into the MCU.
What characters? We're going back to the original 2012 Avengers helicarrier.
But they're
see, you're hurt.
I understand. No,
and you're hurt.
I completely understand that.
Because I just propose essentially taking Star Wars and flushing it down the toilet, and that's why. Not at all. Is that what I'm saying? Is that you bring that relevancy back to the original character, so you can capitalize on the hype of these characters coming back, and say, "Hey, your favorite characters are back. Guess what we're doing right now in Disney World? What you knew once as the Halcyon is now the Helicarrier with all of your original characters that you know and love that are currently in the MCU." That's what I'm saying. Right. So you're saying that having an Avengers on board the helicarrier wouldn't work, and having
no. I'm not saying that. But what I'm basically saying is that have it parallel with the Marvel universe right now.
Yes.
Make it within world. So if you're going to introduce legacy characters, bring back those legacy characters in the MCU, so that's basically all seamless.
Yes.
Within the MCU. Right, you got your own story that's already tied into the current universe.
Yes.
Right.
So wait a minute, you're saying that this wouldn't work because it's from a different timeline? Is that what it is? A continuity error? I'm still confused.
No, possibly.
Okay.
I think it might be smarter to do so. I'm not saying that it wouldn't work, but I think it might be smarter to capitalize. If they brought those legacy characters back, because I mean a lot of us that are
I'm
MCU
not saying,
fans.
look, you can grab lookalikes. You can grab a lookalike Tony Stark. We see them all the
Sure.
time. You can grab a Chris Evans lookalike. They have him in the parks right now. They have him over at the Avengers campus at Disneyland.
Right. Yeah, but
Huh?
what I'm saying is that also have you have your actors that are on the helicarrier within the
Yes.
park. But what I'm saying is at the same time, the particular Captain America, bring back Chris Evans, bring back Robert Downey Jr., bring back Mark Ruffalo, bring back the original core
To tie
Avengers.
them to the ship is what you're saying.
Exactly, cinematically.
Okay, well, that's not going to happen because they didn't even do that for Star Wars.
Of course
They didn't.
not. I know.
They didn't. So you're asking for a lot. What I am proposing is an economical means to reskin that doesn't take a lot of money, but it's going to generate income. Now, somebody brought this up, and I'm quite well aware. Okay, so right here, I'm actually quite aware that Disney cannot build a ride, a Marvel ride, within 20 miles of Universal Studios. This, from what I understand, is permitted as a hotel. That's one of the reasons why Islands of Adventure has the Marvel Superhero Island essentially locked in a time bubble, right? Any of you have ever been to Islands of Adventure, Universal Studios,
It's all
Marvel
comic
Superhero?
based, isn't it?
What's that?
It's all comic based. It has nothing to
It's
do with the
comic book
MCU.
based, but not only is it just comic book based, they don't even have the cinematic rights to the Marvel characters. It is locked in time, meaning what that means for you folks out there, meaning that if they decide to change Doctor Doom's free fall, or they decide to change Hulk's roller coaster, they break their contractual obligation, and then Disney can pull those characters out. That is why Marvel Superhero Island in the year 2023 looks exactly the same. It opened up in 1999. And I'm going to tell you something that is probably one of the things I'm still furious with the Universal Studios, right? I am, because of that agreement, right? I want to say it's a ride. It's an attraction / ride. This is classified and permitted from the city of Orlando. And I'm not a lawyer. I don't know, but I want to say it's a ride. This is a hotel experience. You can still have Marvel in the wonderful Walt Disney World because we have Guardians of the Galaxy at Epcot, the brand new roller coaster that everybody's swooned over. You have a high-tech, mind you, Guardians of the Galaxy. So you can have Marvel at Disney, but you have to tap dance around it. And because of, and I want to say it's 20 miles, right? You can't have Hulk, you can't have Spider-Man within a 20-mile radius of where Super Mario. And unfortunately, you can kind of get to Walt Disney World just shy under 15 miles. I know, I used to live there. So again, this is me speculating, right?
Yeah.
This is a hotel. This is a hotel experience. We're using our, Disney sells it. Board a spaceship. You're staying 2 nights. That's how it's advertised, right? The Hessian looks like a helicarrier. Marvel still prints money. I mean, you saw the hate coming in out of the audience, right? You can't do that. They're going to reskin it into a Star Wars ship. Hold your horses right now. Star Wars isn't making as much money as you guys like to think it is. It's all part of the circle of life. Star Wars is sucking. It affects merchandise. It affects toys, hot toys, everything that we do and collect. This is just a theory. It's a hunch. It's a hunch because the helicarrier, again, it's a flying submarine, right? You don't see Black Widow looking out the window, right? I mean, but again, there's windows on the Hessian. You have clouds. You're flying through. Oh, you're flying through New York City through the Baxter Building. The helicarrier is traveling through New York City, and you see Spider-Man swinging by your window, or you see Iron Man. We're flying near the helicarrier is entering New York City, flying through New York City, and we're flying past the Stark Building. I'm trying to think big. I'm trying to think of. I'm trying to imagine myself on the board of Disney, and we now have I think a $1.2 billion building, a high tech building, right? And look, Star Wars. What are you going to do? Okay, so what would you reskin it as Star Wars? I'll play devil's advocate, Mario. Mario, you're on the Disney board. What would you Mario, you're in charge of reskinning it. I gave the board, look, we'll save a lot of money. We'll turn it into a
Mhm.
Helicarrier. We'll get
Mhm.
lookalike characters. We'll have mischievous Loki, a Tom Hiddleston wannabe. Oh, we'll even tie it in with Loki season 2, and he'll be running around playing tricks with the kids, playing, mischievous tricks with the kids, and we'll sell Loki merch.
Mhm.
And half of the board, well, Denobi, we don't like your idea. So how would
Mhm.
you what would you possibly reskin it as? The pirate ship from Mando season 3 that got blown up? It's the first thing that
No,
came to
no, of
mind.
course not. Of course not. I'm over here thinking something else, which is insane. But what if they actually did Wally? Think back to think back to the ship where they carried
That's cool.
all the humans, right?
Yeah.
That were running around because and they
Well,
left Wally
that
on
was
Earth.
a poke at humans being fat and lazy though. So that
Yeah, I mean, it works in modern present times, doesn't it? I mean, shit. I don't know.
yeah.
That's just another possibility. But if we're doing Star Wars, man, I mean,
Yeah.
as much as I would want to say original trilogy, the fact is that that's only to a niche audience right now.
So this is
Which
this
is
is
us.
this is a good theory. Other than that
Mm.
that he's clearly um not thinking straight that it would be $1 billion to reskin. That's outrageous. No, it would be a few $1,000,000. We're
Mhm.
talking an economical way of reskinning a ship, a lookalike ship. Remember, first of all, they didn't even spend a lot of majority of the money was in the construction and adding all the sliding doors and the monitors. All the work has been done. All you need to do is give it a complete different paint of coat. Avatar, believe it or not, is actually not a bad idea. Avatar is actually hot shit right
But
now.
we already have Pandora in Disney World.
Yes,
Why would they go back and
well,
basically make a
this is
redundant attraction?
this is a science vessel, right? Remember, this is a
Uh-huh.
science vessel where you are watching the birth and the creation of the Avatar beings. This is actually not a bad idea, other
Mm.
than his silly idea that it would be $1 billion to reskin it. That's a complete joke. But Avatar actually makes good sense. In fact, I would even I would even quake a little bit that I was very confident of my Marvel idea of turning into a helicarrier. I would even say, "Oh shit, an Avatar military vessel? Hey, folks, we're going to travel to Pandora and we're going to have a botany bay and we're going to have a science bay with the doctors, and you're going to get to experience what it's like to enter the body of an avatar. Oh, and here is our playpen with alien exotic creatures from Pandora. And here we have blah, blah, blah. And tonight's feast, we're going to be trying cuisines from Pandora. I'm gonna tell you something, that's actually not a bad idea.
That's actually pretty
I
cool when you put
That's
it that way.
actually really
Yeah.
fucking cool, and again, it's all about doing it on the cheap. All we
Hmm.
need to do is give it
Yeah.
a paint job and make some videos. The biggest cost from what I saw with the Galactic Cruiser were the actors. They had a ton
Hmm.
of equity actors, and the thing is, though, is that actors, on Disney property and in Universal, when they speak, believe it or not, there is a union out there. I know that.
Yeah.
There is, if you're inside like a Winnie the Pooh costume, you're not part of the union. But if you are an actor that speaks, you are absolutely part of the Disney Actors Union. I know they
Hmm.
have one out there. So if you can get rid of some of those because they had a ton of interactions going on, and here's the thing though, it was not only just the actors, but they had them in costumes with paint and makeup. No,
Oh yeah.
you make them human scientists on board the Avatar vessel. I got to tell you something. I thought I was really proud of my Marvel helicarrier. I think the
And
Avatar
there comes the
idea,
Hellorian.
yeah,
Yep.
I'll give him credit. I'll even give him 10 points. That's actually not a bad idea.
Oh
He,
shit.
he would have gotten 50 points if it wasn't for the smart aleck billion comment, but I think the Avatar is actually pretty goddamn. I'm sorry, Mario. If
Nice.
you think that, because I kept hearing that all day, and they're going to reskin it into Star Wars.
Uh-huh.
Bullshit. No.
That the Hellorian. No, no, no. This is a compelling argument.
Yeah.
Although I must say there's a few people in the chat that do seem to like the Wally idea as well. So,
But
there's
Wally never
that.
had. Wally was never meant as a franchise. It's not like the
No,
Incredibles
no.
that had like. If you would
It
say, "Hey,
wasn't.
let's make it into the Incredibles," Chip. Well, the Incredibles had a
Hmm.
sequel, and the Incredibles is considered a franchise property.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
Wally, it was more of an insult to humans and how we treat Earth and how we're kind of pigs. And I just, in fact, if anything, it's one of those movies that Pixar really got away with. Like the fact that they were able to make that back in the day is really incredible. I mean, because it really was a jab at us. Like, we're all a bunch of slobs. We're all fucking
Hmm.
lazy. And so it didn't. It's hard to market that. And there's only so many Wally robots. That's the other thing too. You have to think about merchandise. We're here to sell, right? That's why I'm like, turn it into a helicarrier and we'll sell
Hmm.
it to Marvel still sells. I don't care what anybody says.
It
Iron
does.
Man,
It
Iron
does.
Man in Japan and Asia still sells. So every time Hot Toys drops an Iron Man figure, everybody's another Iron Man, Iron Man. So that's shit's not for us.
But here's where your argument falls apart.
Go
The
ahead.
fact is, right now, what Disney is known to do
Mhm.
is they capitalize on what's current right now in their MCU. Granted, while if you look at Avengers Campus, yeah, they do have
They
some
did it
legacy
for the
characters.
Hession.
What's that?
They didn't make it current and cap for the Hession, did they?
Well, no, because they already had a story, written, for that timeline, so they can make it all continuous, with their Galaxy's Edge timeline,
Mm,
which is basically between episodes 7 and 8, or
yeah.
8 and 9, or whatever it was. But if you look at Avengers Campus right now, anytime
Yeah.
that there's a new movie, what happens? There's new characters at the park that come out for meet and greets. We got
Mhm.
Kang, we got Scarlet Witch, we got Captain Marvel. Recently, they just started doing they did Mantis. Mantis is out, so now the Guardians is a little bit bigger right now. So they're capitalizing on that. Moon Knight was there for a while. So while granted the world is as a generic Avengers type of campus, where it can be technically anything, they do tend to capitalize on what's hot right now, right? So if they were to do anything Avengers related, I think they're just going to do it within their current universe, whatever it is at the time.
Well,
While it could be
The Avengers Campus isn't continuity time lock because the one in Paris right when I left I just opened up and it was just
mhm,
honestly it was just a Spider-Man ride and an Iron Man. It really was neutral. There's no
mhm.
reason why you couldn't make it new. In fact, hell, I mean, if people here are debating Isles of Adventure, Marvel Superhero Island is outdated as shit. It's
It
based off of a
is,
comic
yeah.
book that was sold when the park opened up. Marvel Superhero Island actually has its own self-contained story that was sold in a comic book, folks.
Mhm.
And it's so old and in my book dated. No one even cares what the backstory. All it is that you get to ride the Hulk roller coaster, you get to ride Spider-Man 3D, and you get to ride Doctor Doom's Free Fall.
Mhm.
So I think with Marvel, you're given a little bit more of leeway. In fact, I think if anything, fans would appreciate that they get to go back. Because remember, the entry point for most Marvel fans, well, to the MCU was the Avengers. It was for me. I mean, I fell in love with
Mhm.
Iron Man 2 and the first one, but Avengers
Is what really
in
kicked it off.
2012 sealed the deal. Avengers in 2012, I'm like, well, I'm collecting Hot Toys. You know that.
Yeah, yeah.
I got to start collecting Hot Toys.
Mhm.
That was a special. That was
Right.
like a special year. It's like an
That's
anniversary.
basically the same argument if you were to keep it at Star Wars, is to do it all original trilogy. You're going back to the beginning where everybody basically fell in love with the IP, with the
The
original
problem,
Avengers.
the problem, the problem with Star Wars is that it's going to run up a bill, right?
Mhm.
Because and you know this as much as I do. The Star Wars fans are more divas. They're just more sensitive, and
But there's
and
more merch to be had, to
they're
be
more
sold.
immersion.
They
Yeah,
can capitalize on everything, bro.
yeah.
Whether the littlest things, to a pair of socks, to a pair
But
of
they didn't
underwear,
even do
to
it. They
exclusive
ran out of
lightsabers.
money. They ran out
They
of
were they
money.
couldn't do it because no one afforded to freaking go. No one could afford to go. If they were to make that price point of entry more budget friendly, and then just capitalize out the merchandise like I mentioned earlier, they'd make a killing off original trilogy shit. I'm telling you, that's where the money would be. You know.
Look, I can feel your hesitation because you don't like the idea of essentially taking the Star Wars Hessian, throwing it in the trash, and either rebrand it into Marvel. And then look, that's perfectly
No,
fine.
no, I don't. No. It's not that I don't. It's not that I don't like the idea, because I mean, the Hessian it was something I wasn't interested. After it opened up. So I'm definitely open to that kind of reskin. It just doesn't make sense. Like knowing how Disney works, I don't see them doing something like that. But if they did, because they don't have anything Marvel related in Florida right now. Well, so I agree that would be cool to capitalize on that, to get themselves something Marvel related in the parks. This could be the gateway to that. But where I'm disagreeing is the timeline, because the way, like I mentioned, how Disney works, they usually try to keep everything modern within their cinematic world. Although I would agree with you as to where I would prefer they would have the original Avengers in there as well. I would think it would be like way better. I just don't see them doing that if they were to go that route.
Wait a minute. I guess I must have skipped. It turns out that Monkey Raph was the one that suggested the Avatar idea. Did I just give 10 points to the Helicarrier? I know that's not what I did. I'm Helicarrier. I need those
You
points.
got to retract that.
I got to retake that.
Well, what can I say? Your comment has garnered a negative point. 10 points will be deducted.
That's a 10-point minus for Helicarrier because I gave it to. So we'll give the 50 points for Monkey Raph because he suggested the Avatar themed hotel, and that's not a bad idea. So
I'll jump from 10 to 50. That's awesome.
Got to give some credit here. My apologies for that mess. Look, no, I was very confident going into the stream. I'm like, you know what? They're going to turn to Marvel. But Avatar, I think, hit $2 billion mark. It's like already in the top 5.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
That's crazy.
It's printing money, right? So plus we have another Avatar 3 coming out. So
and 4, 5, and 6 too, right? Or something like that.
So make it into an Avatar themed vehicle, ship, whatever themed area. Oh my God, why is this?
Tell Anthony to stop calling, man. We're busy.
I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, phone's acting up. You know what it is? I think I'm saying certain keywords as I'm talking, and it's triggering. I just don't know what words I'm saying.
Avatar.
Something. I'm saying something that's friggin' triggering it, so I'm gonna put it over here. No, look, I regardless, I still feel confident that it's gonna get peeled apart, and it's probably not gonna be Star Wars.
We'll see, man. We'll see what they do. But Avatar, that is a good idea, though, dude. It really is. That's intriguing.
Yeah,
that's really intriguing.
It's just everybody feels that they're just going to redo Star Wars again, and Star Wars is expensive, and there's no tentpole event. There's nothing. Hey, we're going to reskin it into. But yet Marvel. I mean,
how cool would this be, man? If you had a room where you can have either a live actor Loki, you could push a button and just have him drop from that. From that little cell.
There you go. Right.
That'd be amazing.
Have it on board the Helicarrier and have it.
Have a meet and greet with Loki and just have him talk shit. And if you get tired of him, you just push a button, just watch him drop. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, I think going with the Helicarrier route is going to probably be the best option, where it's not going to require a lot of money. It's not going to take a lot to reskin it. You're essentially making it into a military vehicle, but again, make it into a futuristic science fiction vehicle, military, right? I mean, because the colors are it's gray and gunmetal gray. It's not like you have to add those extra layers for Star Wars, like the insignias and so forth. But And again, one of the things people complained about the Hessians, like, where's all the aliens? Where's all the droids? Remember that shit? There should have been like astromech droids going up the corridors,
There
and
were.
they would only bring one astromech droid, one at in the evenings, and it would be like an autograph
Mhm.
photo session. And I go, that's not what was advertised. They made it seem like you'd be walking down like the corridors and going through the airlocks, and there's
Well,
aliens.
they also advertised that Galaxy's Edge would be more interactive. That
Yeah.
that the cast would know every time that you crash the Falcon or something like that. But that hasn't happened either.
Yeah.
So
No. So, and I get it.
Yes.
I mean, having props like that running around and stuff like that,
yeah.
it's expensive. And I can imagine there was probably more situations where having droids running around and kids abuse, vandals and
Yeah.
shit. Yeah, kids are like, oh, it's an astromech droid. Let's mess with
Just
it.
tear it apart.
I know. And then poor R2 is like, "Wow!"
Right.
he's yelling and right. And it's look, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
They were thinking big, and then they realized when they got down to the books, the math wasn't adding up. Right. It wasn't
Yeah.
making any sense. Yeah, look, Mara, this was fun. I'm not gonna spend, but this was fun because I wanted to really, honestly, I wanted to timestamp my idea because nobody had mentioned it. It seemed today that everybody just thought it'll just be another Star Wars cruiser, or
That makes sense.
the other
You're
one,
spending the least money.
or the other one was, they're going to tear it down. For shame on Disney and the shareholders, they're not tearing shit down. It's a
No.
reskin. They're like you said, Mario. You and I both know we're Disney. All they do is just repaint it, give it a fresh coat, and change the theme, and they do that all the time.
Absolutely.
That's common for Disney. The
Yep.
question is, what's it going to be? Right.
Right.
What's it going to be?
Possibilities are exciting.
Possibilities are endless. They
Yeah.
they really, really are. And you're close to 1,000 subscribers, aren't you?
Yes, sir, man. I'm just a few away from 900. And after that, onward to 1K and, whatever after that. So
That's
hopefully by the end of the year, be up to 2.5 million. But, that's a bit of a stretch. We'll see what happens. But,
folks
yeah,
watching, take the time, man. Follow Mario. The link is already in the description of this live stream. Follow him. Help him get to 1,000 subscribers.
Yes, sir.
But again, here we go. What's he say? But again, with the avatar idea, they could expose some Navi art. I'm telling you, when you suggested it, my mind was racing because I was confident that it would have made sense to reskin the Hessian into a Helic, because Marvel, whatever the hate is out there, Marvel is still printing money, right?
Mhm.
To turn the Galactic Cruiser into a Helicarrier, to me, makes sense. But look, the numbers don't lie. Avatar 2 broke 2 billion. It's still making money. It's digital and 4K. And to reskin the Hessian Galactic Starcruiser into an Avatar, what do you think? A military vessel, Mario, or a science vessel? I would think a science vessel.
I would say science for sure, man.
I would say
Definitely.
turn it into like a science vessel, and you have people immersed into the world of Avatar on board the ship. Like hydroponics bay.
It's way more interactive being a science vessel than it would be a military vessel.
Science, you get to include a little, make science fun, and introduce, alien plants and species that are fluorescently glow. Dude, I'm getting excited to start. To me, that's more fun than my idea now.
Yeah. It'll be relevant. It will be relevant with the new movies coming out.
Have you done Pandora at Orlando? No, you haven't been to Florida.
No, I haven't been to Florida yet, man. I need to go.
Much fun.
Yeah. The bucket list is definitely all parks worldwide, man. So Florida
You
hopefully
will-
soon,
you will have
Japan
a
definitely
fun.
in 25. So
Oh, yeah.
I'm
You
definitely
will,
going to Tokyo.
You will have a fun. Thank you, Anthony. You will have so much fun if you make it to Orlando. Because Pandora out there, especially like when you're flying the Banshees, it's
incredible.
It's unique experience.
Yeah.
So, damn it. So, did I convince you, Mario? Or are you still stuck that, you know what? Screw you, Denobi. It's going to be a Star Wars vessel.
You've opened up the possibilities to me, and I'm not hating the idea.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. But it still remains to be seen.
I just, when I think of stuff like this, and like, again, to me, it's failed history. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to visit it. I would love to, but I'm going to Comic-Con. I just have too many trips this year.
Yeah.
And I know it's going to get rebranded or rethemed. How do you fix the mistakes? And you look at what's making money. Marvel is making money.
Right.
And I forgot Avatar is still making money as well too.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be mad. Look, if it turned into a science vessel heading towards Pandora or something like that, that would be cool as shit. That would be really awesome. The question is though, what's that?
I was gonna say, if they can figure out a way to get you off of that ship and into, when you get off, get into Pandora itself, that would be like mind blowing. But I mean,
Yeah,
what would have to be involved to make that happen? You know?
yeah, that'd be really cool. Yeah, and have it kind of like the Nostromos alien, just that military rugged.
Yeah.
That'd be bad. I don't know. I'm thinking big here, but again, I'm trying to say everybody. Anyway, folks, look, I had fun tonight. This was I wanted to kind of get my thoughts. Again, who knows what's going to happen? Thank you, Mario. And who knows? Maybe there'll be like a double coupon day, like in the video, right? Like,
let me know, dude. I'll try to make that trip too, man.
Have a coupon day or something.
That's awesome.
I'm like, that's what I thought was going to happen.
Uh-huh.
Oh God, here we go.